Before we begin with Caesar's invasion of Brittany, don't forget to subscribe. Let us begin. After staying in their territory for a few days, burning all their villages and buildings and cutting down their grain, Caesar returned to the land of the Ubii and promised them his support if they were oppressed by the Suebi. He learned from them that the Suebi, upon learning from scouts that the bridge was being built, held a council and sent messengers everywhere to order their people to move from their towns, hide their children, wives, and possessions in the forests, and all who could bear arms should assemble in one place. This place was roughly in the center of the regions they controlled, where they intended to await the Roman advance and fight. When Caesar learned this, he accomplished all he had planned by leading his army across to intimidate the Germans, punish the Sugambri, and relieve the Ubii from siege. After spending 18 days across the Rhine, he believed he had achieved enough in terms of both honor and advantage, so he returned to Gaul and dismantled the bridge. Although only a small part of summer remained in winters in these northern regions come early, Caesar was determined to go to Britain, for he understood that in almost all the wars with the Gauls, assistance had been provided from there to his enemies. Even if the season was too late for waging war, he believed it would still be of great use to him if he only visited the island, saw the people, and learned about their places, ports, and access points, all of which were unknown to the Gauls. For rarely did anyone, except traders, venture there, and even they only knew the coast and those regions facing Gaul. Therefore, he called together traders from all directions, but could not find out the size of the island, the number or strength of the tribes living there, their customs in warfare, or which harbors were suitable for a large number of ships. To gain this knowledge before risking an expedition, he thought it best to send ahead Gaius Volusinus with a warship, instructing him to return as soon as he had explored everything. Caesar himself set out with his entire army to the territory of the Morini because the crossing to Britain from there was shortest. He ordered ships from neighboring regions and the fleet he had used in the previous summer's Venetian War to assemble there. Meanwhile, when the Britons learned of his plans through traders, envoys from several tribes of the island came to him, promising to give hostages and obey the authority of the Roman people. Hearing this, Caesar promised them generous terms and urged them to maintain their resolve, sending them back home along with Commius, whom he had made king over the Atrovates after their conquest, and whom he considered a man of great courage and judgment, loyal to him, and respected in those regions. He instructed Commius to visit as many tribes as possible. While Caesar stayed in the area preparing ships, envoys came to him from a large part of the Morini, apologizing for their previous behavior, stating that as barbarians and ignorant of Roman customs, they had waged war against the Roman people, but now they promised to comply with his commands. Caesar thought this a timely occurrence, as he did not want to leave an enemy behind him, nor had the opportunity to wage war due to the time of year, nor did he think such minor matters should be prioritized over his expedition to Britain. So he demanded a large number of hostages from them. Once these were brought, he accepted their submission. He gathered and fitted about 80 transport ships, which he deemed sufficient for transporting 2 legions. The additional warships he distributed to the quaestor, his lieutenants, and the prefects. 18 transport ships, detained by the wind 8 miles from the port where he assigned to the cavalry. The rest of the army he left under the command of Quintus Titurius Sabinus and Lucius Aurunculeius Cotta, ordering them to lead it into the territories of the Menapii and those Morini districts that had not sent envoys to him. He ordered Publius Sulpicius Rufus, with a garrison he deemed sufficient to hold the port. With these arrangements made, Caesar set sail around the 3rd hour, taking advantage of suitable weather for sailing. He ordered the cavalry to proceed to a different port, embark on their ships, and follow him. However, they were somewhat delayed in executing his orders. Caesar himself reached Britain around the 4th hour of the day with the first ships and saw armed forces of the enemy stationed on all the hills. The nature of the location was such that the sea was confined by mountains with narrow passes, making it possible to throw weapons from the higher ground onto the shore. Deciding that this place was not suitable for disembarking, he waited at anchor until the 9th hour for the rest of the ships to assemble. Meanwhile, he called together his legates and military tribunes, explained what he had learned from Volusinus, and outlined what he wanted to be done, emphasizing the importance of carrying out all commands promptly and efficiently in response to the rapid and unpredictable movements of maritime operations. After dismissing them, he advanced about 7 miles from that place and stationed his ships on an open and flat shore. However, the barbarians, having learned of the Romans' plans, sent ahead their cavalry and charioteers, a type of fighter they commonly used in battles. They followed with the rest of their forces to prevent our men from disembarking. The difficulty was immense because the ships, due to their size, could only anchor in deep water. The soldiers in unfamiliar locations, with their hands hindered, burdened by the heavy weight of their armor, had to jump down from the ships, maintain their footing in the waves, and fight the enemy simultaneously. The enemy, either on dry land or having advanced a little into the water, with all their limbs free in well-known locations, boldly hurled their weapons and urged on their trained horses. Our men, terrified by these circumstances and inexperienced in this type of fighting, did not show the same zeal and eagerness they usually exhibited in battles on foot. If you, like me, are looking forward to see what is going to happen next, if Caesar will invade Brittany, don't forget to put a like and subscribe. See you in the next video.